I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Board of Education for the School District of Waukesha, full board meeting on Wednesday, March 8th, 2017. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight, and Sue, will you start off by providing roll call for us?
William Baumgart.
Here.
Barbara Brezink. Greg Dietz.
Here.
Amanda Roddy.
Here.
Patricia Madden.
Here.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Here.
Kurt O'Brien.
Here.
Karen Reinacek. Joseph Como.
Did you hear Karen's here? Thank you, Sue. Can you also verify that the meeting's been properly posted?
Yes, it has.
Thank you kindly. Just a note, Barbara Brezink is also excused this evening, so. We're going to start off with bright lights tonight, always our favorite part of our meeting. Tonight we have Chris Del Ponte from North High School to talk about Project Genesis. Chris, you want to come on forward? And Rebecca, I guess, too?
Good evening. Chris and I are here tonight to talk about Project Genesis. Project Genesis is it's North's attempt to incorporate the community into our school in a more formal way. So what Chris and I did, and a bunch of other teachers in the district, we actually visited Iowa, a school in Iowa last year, and we saw the wonderful connection that was happening between the school in Iowa and the community members, and there was a really nice partnership. And when we came back, I just couldn't get it out of my head around how many resources and what wonderful community partnerships or members that we have in Waukesha, and I wanted to do something about that and bring them into our school in a little bit more formal way. So Chris and I kind of start talking, and Chris is actually our community outreach person at North. And we started just thinking about some different ways in which we could make this happen. And we took some ideas, we connected with the school in Iowa, and talked about how they originally got started with their connection in the community. And what they did was they invited some members from the community into their school to shadow some students for the day and really help them to understand what the school looks like, and to then give some feedback around if we were doing the right things in our school to get our students prepared for post-graduation. So that's just a little bit of background regarding Project Genesis. And what happened was we went ahead and looked at our attendance area and invited several, 20 or so?
We invited
20 community partners who have businesses in our attendance area to come in and spend a portion of the day with us. And so that happened on January 31st, and that's a little bit about what we're going to tell you about today. Our belief at North is that quality education happens through partnerships, and that can be a community partnership. It also happens through parent partnerships, all kinds of partnerships, but it does not happen in isolation. It happens when schools and communities come together to create authentic opportunities for students. So that was what our mission was as we started out and started with this project. So Chris is going to tell you a little bit more about the day and the feedback that we received from these community partners.
Thank you, and thank you for having us tonight. Really cool opportunity that we had here at North, and I'm really thankful and grateful for all the support Becky has given us in this endeavor. As we started this effort, we really wanted to ask two questions. The first question was, how can North enhance its efforts to prepare students for success in our ever-changing world? And the partner question to that would be, how can our Waukesha community join in this effort? So that was the vision that we approached this whole effort and this day with. We kind of drafted some branding and some marketing to go along with it when we went out and approached some businesses. And really, we wanted this day to be a day of rooting in purpose and growing in community. And the first thing we want to do is really to root in purpose. We want to provide our community partners with a fresh perspective of modern public education, and in turn have them provide us with a perspective of modern workplace demands. We want to equip business and community leaders with a voice with which they can influence local schools. We feel that sometimes that's lacking, and we want to really empower the community to be able to do that. The third point is to better connect the community with North and School District of Waukesha educators, and finally transform students into career and college-ready citizens. That's the purpose that we wanted to approach this event with. And then through that, we want to grow in community, and we called this Project Genesis because we wanted this effort and this initiative to be the genesis for creating dynamic conversations that will root us in providing student and community-centered education. So what you're going to see on this slide is on the left, you'll see scrolling through the logos of the businesses who actually attended the event, as we kind of give you some numbers. We invited 20 organizations. We contacted them. 18 of them were in North's area, attendance area, and 2 were outside of the area, just barely, but we gave them a pass. But we wanted them, but they are already heavily involved with the school district as well. 11 organizations attended, and they were represented by 14 people. We had a couple businesses send 2 representatives. Very often they were either managers, we had a business owner come, we had HR directors come, so it was a mix of people who came for that day. This was one of the most awesome things about this whole effort is that 8 businesses couldn't attend, but they explicitly said they want to be involved in the future, and that's going to be very key for us moving forward. On the left, as we kind of scroll through this, you'll see what the agenda actually was, and this is the agenda that the business people, community members were given throughout the day. As we started the day, around 8 o'clock, we had some really cool networking conversations, and the first question we asked them was, what's your perception of high school, and how would you describe your high school experience? So they were actually in cohorts based upon like industry, so we had a STEM cohort, we had more of a service industry cohort, and we had a business and retail cohort as well. And some of the things that they said even before they went into the school, went into the classrooms, was they thought it was fun. They got the impression that modern education is all about technology. When they think about high school, some of the more negative things that sometimes came out is, at least in their experience, they had a lack of authentic career preparation, and sometimes they felt that it was almost too system and teacher driven. So this was the lens that they were going into the classroom with. Then we asked them what knowledge, skills, and abilities are needed to succeed in your specific industry or organization. Some of the pictures you're going to see are also actual pictures from the day and the business people actually interacting with the students. So some of the things that they told us and the resounding themes we got were communication is always the number one that we get whenever we talk to our business partners. But some of the other ones were self-direction, time management and organization, general professionalism, things such as how to write an appropriate email, to appropriate dress in the workplace. Being able to think systematically and systems thinking, and how do you approach a complex problem, and also innovation and problem solving were some of the themes that they told us for this. And finally, what did you expect when you went in to shadow the classes? And so some of the things that they expected to see were a heavy use of technology. They wanted students to have aha moments like you would have in the professional world. They wanted to see engaging and interactive environments, and they also wanted to see some real-world connections when they went in. After that, we had a little bit of a break. And then for about 2 hours, we recruited 5 students to be our leaders for this day, and they each took a group of business people. And throughout this day, they went to 2 different classes. I believe it was our 2nd hour and our 3rd hour class. One of the classes that the cohort would go to, so the STEM cohort went to an engineering class, and the second one was completely random based on what the student had. So we ensured that they would at least get to see one class in their career pathway area, but then we also want them to have some kind of random fun. So we had a group who was in French class. They really couldn't understand what was going on, but they at least got to see what it would be like in a modern French class. Some of the comments we got were, first of all, they observed great engagement with the students, and they especially were impressed to see all the collaboration that was going on. For many of the people who came, collaboration was not part of their high school experience. So this was something we did surveys at the end. We got a lot of positive feedback from that. We also got a lot of positive feedback regarding our teachers. Teachers are excellent. The classes were very interactive and not boring. So these were some direct quotes from some of the business people off of the surveys. Then afterwards, we did a reflection and a visioning session. What are your recommendations for enhancing education, and how could partnerships play a role in this? So based on what they saw, some of the things they would like to see now, this was a small sample size, it was only 2 hours. There were actually some people who requested potentially spending the whole day in school so they could see a larger sample size. Some of the things that they said were a little bit more of a focus on life skills and continuing to bring in authentic learning, as well as smaller learning environments. Sometimes they felt that maybe some students got lost or were intimidated to participate because of the larger setting that they have. And then a lot of the businesses who responded to our survey said that the things in the right column under partnerships are things they would be interested in providing to North. Life skills training, and even mentoring students on how to interact and how to actually work in the workplace. Job shadowing, mentoring, and projects. These themes came out a lot in our surveys. They wanted to mentor students. Some of them are interested in bringing kids into the workplace to do projects for them. And some of them actually said we'd be interested in serving on an advisory board of community partners to kind of oversee some of these efforts that we're doing. So from our perspective, this was very valuable. And some of the next steps, I think that this data point is really key for us. We asked them a survey at the end on a scale of 1 to 5. How would you rate your willingness to future participation in this? Would you be willing to participate in this in the future? And 92% of the attendees said they rated it number 5. They absolutely want to continue with this. So that was awesome for us to get that feedback. So what we're going to do next is follow up with the businesses who came. We are also probably going to do a second cohort in the fall for those businesses who couldn't come this time, and then we'll probably add some additional businesses to that too. We're going to be analyzing the feedback we got from their surveys and come back to our sale team and maybe do some next steps with that, potentially conducting professional development, have staff potentially go and actually shadow and tour businesses to see what it's like in the modern workplace, and really look at our partnership infrastructure at North, anything from simple recognitions at North to in-depth learning experiences that we can begin to craft with our teachers. So this was a really cool event. I'd like to thank everybody who helped to support this from the building level to the district level. It was a really neat experience for us. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Baumgartner.
Chris, I probably don't have a question for you, but I had a chance to sit in on that day, and it was everything that Chris mentioned, very positive. I didn't hear what I think is a very important part to you guys, and that was the fact that rather than just having the businesses participate with us, you are planning to have a reciprocity agreement where we will find something that we can do for the businesses. And some of that has already taken some traction already, so that it's a two-way partnership, not just a one-way partnership. And I thought that was so important. The other thing, and it just happened to come up last night at the the TLC meeting, that came up from our business representatives there, and that is when they went to the classroom, they saw something that they weren't used to seeing, and that was a barrier between the students and the teachers. The old way of looking at it, the teacher was way up there on the pedestal, and there was a fear among most people to talk to those teachers. And they said they were amazed by the opportunities that our children have to approach the teacher and have a discourse with the teacher, or even a difference of opinions with the teacher, and it wasn't a negative thing. So it was just a very exciting day, and go for it.
Well, and thank you so much for participating too, Bill. It was very valuable to have you there.
Other questions? Chris, I wanted to thank you for inviting me and my business. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. We are in the North School District area, so I appreciate that. And I wasn't able to send anybody else on that particular day to attend, but I look forward to being reinvited next fall, it looked like. So I appreciate that. And what a wonderful, sometimes we learn things from other districts, and we do get out. Our district does get out, and we do interact with other districts, not only within our state, within the United States too. And we've taken some really good, we've learned some very good things from other districts, but we also have other districts come to our district, and actually other countries, as we've mentioned in the past, come to our district. So it's a real collaborative kind of environment to share good ideas, and this one seems to be one that's taken off pretty well for you guys. So thank you very much for the presentation, and we look forward to seeing how this develops over time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Moving on, we now go to our recognitions portion of the meeting. And Chris Hedstrom, we do have one Employee of the Month award to be presented tonight. And I won't share who that is. I'm going to let Chris share who that is.
Thank you. The Employee Recognition Award for March 2017 is being presented this evening to Anne Marie Worley. Anne Marie, would you join me, please? Anne Marie started with the School District of Waukesha in just 2014. She is currently working as an effectiveness coach at Blair Elementary School. Anne Marie's nominator begins by saying that as an effectiveness coach and dean of academics, Anne Marie has provided professional development, school-wide collaboration, supporting teacher planning and coaching. Leading many successful school-wide work teams, PLC, and coordinating school-wide events such as school-wide assessment planning. As a fourth grade teacher leader at Blair, her classroom was the highest performing classroom, and now she is sharing her successful practice with teachers while learning alongside teachers through coaching. She is very driven by feedback, and it is evident in her hard work and her commitment to excellence with all that she works with, but more importantly for our scholars. She is always willing to go above and beyond. Just this month, at student-led conferences, Anne Marie took it upon herself to position herself to create math games for families to take home to support math skills for free. This stemmed from knowing parents need more than flashcards to keep learning going on at home in an authentic way, focused on problem solving. Another example of her dedication is she is tutoring a former fourth grader that is in middle school after school on her own time just because she wanted some additional support with math. These are a few examples of Anne Marie's impact on Blair. Blair is so fortunate to have her. Anne Marie has advanced teachers' practice. It really has impacted the culture of high expectations, focus on student learning, and closing the achievement gap. She has made great results with the eSale walkthrough data, an increase in double-digit gains, and increase in teacher practice in both small group and conferring. She has established strong coaching relationships that support teacher and student growth. This year, we have really been able to celebrate Blair's school report card to achieving exceed expectation score of 82.6. It is because both the impact Anne Marie has as a classroom teacher leader and now as an effectiveness coach that we are able to achieve this. She is so deserving of this recognition. On behalf of the School District of Waukesha, I would like to congratulate Anne Marie Worley on being selected to receive the Waukesha School District Employee Recognition Award.
I would just like to thank Ida Cruz-Farron, our principal, for her kind remarks. I'm really humbled by everything she had to say, and I'm also humbled by the work that I do alongside teachers at Blair every day to move our children forward. Anyone can really learn what the best practices are in math or dual language. Anyone can learn that, but without teachers that are willing to work alongside you and learn alongside you, I think instructional coaching has no impact at all. So I am humbled by Ida's work, and I'm humbled by the work that I get to teach with at Blair.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Tonight, we have a report from our Waukesha West High School student representatives, Valerie and Wyatt. Will you come forward, please, and let us know what's happening at West?
Hello, how you guys doing? I'm Wyatt Rollerman. This is Valerie Perkin.
Welcome.
I'm here to talk about more the athletics that's going on at West for the winter season. To start off, as you can tell by my coat, I play for the boys hockey team for the high school. So that's West, North, and South. So this is kind of it's a co-op team. So it's kind of a bright lights for all the high schools. We took second at state last weekend. We beat Arrowhead and Sun Prairie in overtime in the state quarterfinals and the semifinals. So that was cool. We lost 2-1 on live television to Hudson. So that was awesome. My mom and dad recorded it, and we got to watch it back, and it was kind of weird watching yourself on television. Another highlight, I'm also on the academic team, and last weekend they went up to the Wisconsin Dells, and they took second overall in Division I. These are some kids that I'm more involved in the athletics and everything. I also play baseball and golf, and I watched the academic decathlon team at West just study, flashcards, tests, everything. I mean, if kids in athletic programs were doing that, I mean, the state championships would be staggering coming out of Waukesha. Our cheerleading team took third place in both the super small stunt and the large cheer dance. I don't know a lot about cheerleading. Miss Brown is our front door lady, and she's always hyping it up and everything. I got to watch them perform at basketball games, football games, and they were very good the whole season. What we implemented for our winter sports season was called Pack the House. So what we did is we had 6 winter sports, and one night for each of the sports, we tried to get all the kids from West to go out and watch that. Myself, I attended 4 out of the 5, and then obviously I was playing in the hockey game. And it was awesome. I mean, we had swimming and we had wrestling, which you usually don't get to go out and see, and to have kids out there supporting the sports that usually don't see that much attention was really cool. And then speaking of wrestling, Shane Gantz took second place. He finished at, I think it was 42-2 this season.
Wow.
He was something. He was something to watch. I was definitely not going to wrestle him. I ain't him.
It's good to know your limits.
Yeah. We have an annual leadership conference meeting, and this took place at River Glen, and I was lucky enough to be one of the MCs for this, along with Peter McCudden. I don't know, you guys probably seen him in the Freeman and everything. But that was something to be up there in front of 200 of our peers talking, having a good time. We had a bunch of little breakout sessions. One of them was grade level, one of them was by gender, and it just stirred up a bunch of conversations amongst the leaders of Waukesha West that I really think we're going to implement some of the stuff into what we're doing next year and even this spring sports season. And then the last thing we have to touch on here is the Beard for Change. I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but as you can see, Mr. Pat back there is recovering from this. Waukesha West raised over $5,000 for the less fortunate for the Milwaukee Public Schools. And they're helping out with a food and a home shelter down there. So all the money that all the kids raised for over this 4-month period is all going down there, and it was really cool. I got to see everybody get their head shaved and their beards all shaved up. That was awesome to watch during lunch. It was everybody's still recovering. I like it.
I don't know if the principal saw that we zoomed in. The camera zoomed in to get a close-up.
Yeah, but it's been an awesome winter sports season here so far, and I'm going to turn it over here to Val.
I'm Val Perkins. I am Vice President of Student Council at West. So what we've been doing a lot of lately is service-oriented, both with Student Council and with a few of our other clubs like Interact and Key Club. Student Council in December held its annual food drive. For several years, we've been the biggest food drive in the Waukesha area. We've beat Arrowhead every year, which has been a point of pride for us. But we raise thousands of food items every year. Student council members go out into the community. We put flyers in mailboxes. We have neighbors bring in food, and there's always a big pile out front in the school lobby of food. And this year, it went to the Waukesha Food Pantry, which was different. But it was good to spread that around. And then more recently in student council, we've worked, we've been splitting up the whole council. There's about 50 of us. So we decided it would be better to start spreading the work around. So we've had students broken up into committees. They're organizing the talent show, a student staff basketball game. Some students are working to raise money to help improve the woods out behind the school. Some students are organizing a shake sale where we have McDonald's donate shakes, and then we give them out for donations, and project in the school. And then we also have some kids going out to help with Project Echelon, which is a bike race that happens in April, I believe, and it's in support of veterans. And then we also have our March blood drive coming up, where we do that every year, and we have kids signing up other kids for donating blood, and that's always a good thing that we do. And then Interact Club has been working with the environment this year, and they've also done some work with Special Olympics. And then Club has also done work with Special Olympics, and they're working on some community outreach by helping Rose Glen Elementary School with their chicken dinner this year. And then, just another addition, the school play has been last weekend, and it's coming up this weekend. And it's always really cool for students to go out and see our peers doing, frankly, incredible things, like they're flying. It's pretty awesome. And it's a great morale booster, especially right now. We're a few months out of AP testing, so kids are getting kind of stressed. And then we're also, tomorrow, some elementary schools are coming in, and they're doing shows for them, and that's just another great community.
There are 8 hours of school that go on too.
What questions do we have for our student representatives? Mrs. Ryanchek.
Thank you. Thank you both. Just wondering what your play is this year.
Oh, it's Peter Pan, sorry.
Okay.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yeah, I thought this was a very interesting presentation, a lot of diversity in terms of activities going on at West, as there is in all our schools, but this is probably, in terms of presentation and a lot of diverse topics. Just a quick question on the hockey group. Is it just our high schools, or is Catholic Memorial part of that as well?
West, north, south, Pewaukee, and St. John's Military Academy.
Oh, okay. And, well, congratulations on a great year. I mean, that's, anytime you beat Arrowhead, it's a great year, but, you know, just an old story, you know, when West won the state championship in football one year, they were more proud that they beat Arrowhead that year than they were that they won the state championship. So beating Arrowhead any year is as good as winning any state championship, and so I'm proud of you guys. And the activities of the school and the Key Club and stuff like that, my daughter's very active in that at that time, and that's a wonderful organization. I was glad to hear.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you. We look forward to what a great report you had today, and we look forward to your next one a couple of months out. Thank you. I was so excited to hear from the Waukesha West students on what's happening at West. We kind of passed over a very important point, and I'm going to pass it back to Chris Hedstrom, and she's going to announce a new principal that we have.
So I'm very excited to introduce to all of you the principal for Hillside Elementary School. I don't know what happened to my throat. Sorry. Faith, could you please step up here?
And actually, I'm the principal at Hillcrest.
Hillcrest.
I've been busy. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm pleased to present to you our new principal at Hillcrest Elementary School. Her name is Faith Lincecum. Faith has been an effectiveness coach at the STEM schools Hawthorne and at Randall. She's been an exemplary teacher. She's been working in our school district for a long time, and she's just grown and blossomed as a leader in our school district, and we're really pleased to be able to promote her to principal at Hillcrest Elementary School. So I'll let her introduce herself to you now, and welcome, Faith.
Thank you. It is a true honor to be stepping in as the principal at Hillcrest Elementary School. I'm incredibly honored to have the opportunity to serve the learners, the staff, and the families of that community. My husband and I have lived in Waukesha, and our three boys have had the great fortune of participating in many schools across the city, and I'm really excited and eager to be leading one of those schools as we provide these opportunities for kids across our city. Bonnie and I have had a chance to sit down and talk through what this transition of care will look like. I've had a chance to meet staff, and after spring break I'll have the opportunity to connect one-on-one with staff, and we've set times for me to meet families, for me to connect with kids, and to start their sale process so we can fold together the leadership and continue to move it forward. So thank you again. This is a wonderful opportunity, and I've appreciated all the opportunities I've had in the school district to grow as a leader, and this is a new facet for me to serve the community, and I appreciate your support along this way. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Faith, and congratulations on your new leadership position. And the words of wisdom coming from Bonnie Schleiss are many, and I'm sure if you ever have a question, you know how to get in touch with her.
Absolutely.
But we look forward to your leadership and you taking the school and moving it to the next level.
Thank you.
Welcome to the new position. Thanks, Chris. Sorry that I skipped over that second part earlier. We move on to the portion of our meeting where we like to listen to our citizens. As in past practice, we limit the time to 3 minutes for each person. At the 2.5-minute mark, Kurt O'Brien will give you a 30-second signal just saying, hey, could you, just to wrap up your comments at that time. We expect all speakers to honor our time limit and refrain from using any inappropriate language in any manner and be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations are prohibited from speaking at future Board of Education meetings. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the Board of Education and refrain from verbal comments, cheering, applause, or any other behavior that may distract from the meeting. And also to respect our speakers, I ask that everyone silence or put your phones on vibrate. And we do have a number of people signed up. We have 3 altogether. Mrs. Susan Root, we'll start things off. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm Susan Root, and I represent a group of Waukesha citizens, several of whom are in the first couple rows here, who are concerned about potential legislation allowing concealed carry in Wisconsin public schools. According to a November 2016 article in the Freeman, a bill may be introduced in 2017 to permit concealed carry in private P-12 schools in Wisconsin. We anticipate that if this bill passes, legislation to allow concealed carry in Wisconsin public schools will follow shortly. Our focus is on responding proactively to the possibility of such legislation and on encouraging the board of the Waukesha School District to take proactive action as well. Thus, we request that the Waukesha School Board consider adopting the resolution that's on the back of the handout that you all have, opposing concealed carry in Waukesha public schools. It's important to point out that a number of school boards in the state, including the Wauwatosa and Whitefish Bay school boards, as well as the Wisconsin School Board, have adopted similar resolutions opposing legislation to allow concealed carry in Wisconsin public schools. We provided Mr. Como not only with the handout that you have, but with petitions signed by citizens of Waukesha as well as additional information. So thank you for allowing me to speak, and we hope to be able to follow up with you about your decision about this resolution. Thank you.
And I do have your petitions here, so thank you. Second, we have Mr. Paul Reese.
Hi, I'm Paul Reese. I'm also a CCW holder and an NRA member. And the idea to stop someone from being able to carry their weapon where they choose is a preposterous proposal. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. In Israel, it is required to have guns in their schools. Citizens usually carry fully automatic weapons there, and they have no problem with mass shootings in their schools because they know if anyone comes onto their school with a gun, it will be answered quickly. The notion that we are just going to wish things away and wish they don't happen and put our head in the sand and pretend that there are not evil people out there is absolutely absurd. There is evil in this world, and we cannot stop evildoers from doing evil. The only thing we can do is respond to them, and it takes police 5 minutes. And the amount of shots someone can get off in 5 minutes, if you know what you're doing, is incredible, even with limited clip capacities. I know I shoot all the time. I know exactly how this does. I know what the mathematics are behind it with velocity. Your energy is velocity, is it mass times velocity squared? So, you know, people think that ARs are bad. They are designed to wound. The military designed that round to wound. You take a deer hunting rifle and it'll cut you in half. Just the nonsense that's spread about guns is just astonishing to me. It is just willful ignorance. Thanks.
And our third person that has signed up is Mr. Carl Luck. Luck or Luck? I'm sorry.
Right. Thank you very much for letting me speak. I'm a 40-year resident of Waukesha County. I had the privilege of all three children, my children, going through the Waukesha schools. They went to South. And I want to tell you, that is one fine school. The sports, the art, the music, and the teachers. All three of my kids are very successful now. My one daughter is a mechanical engineer. The other son is a mechanical engineer. He's making more money than I did when I retired. And my other daughter is a dentist. So I want to say that I think the school is great. The diversity is great. But what I want to talk about is the proposal that legislation is coming out with to allow guns in schools. It is not, it's not just the safety factor of accidental firings and whatnot. It is, we don't want our kids to have the impression that guns are necessary and are normal, because they're not. We want to build a sense of community, and you're not going to do that with seeing people, private citizens, carrying guns in schools. You have a very fine system right now, the SROs, which work with the kids and they get to the root cause of any potential problems. That is far better than assuming that we need to have private citizens with guns in schools or on school grounds. So I urge you to please consider the resolution, take a stand, and say no to guns in schools and on school property. Thank you.
Well, those were the only three people that did sign up before the meeting. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to address the Board of Education at this time?
I'm sorry, do you mind if I add anything? I didn't sign up.
Yeah, you can come forward now. Just state your name and your, please state your name and your address.
Okay. All right. Here.
And then,
Hi, my name is Brandon Smith. I'm a Waukesha resident. So I'm here to also discuss the proposed legislation as well that people have been referring to. I have some advice for the school board. So put yourself in a position where you're at a school, something bad's happening. God forbid something's bad happening. God forbid something bad is happening. So what are you gonna do? Well, if you're like me, you'll probably do two things. you'll probably, first of all, pray to our Lord Jesus Christ up in heaven to give you some help. And secondly, you're probably going to call 911. And who's going to answer the phone and who's going to come when you call 911? Well, it's probably going to be a good guy with a gun, a police officer. So, good guy for sure. So let's talk about the police officer. Did you guys know, and it may surprise you, that the burden to own and possess a firearm is different for police officers versus the regular citizens. The burden for police officers is this high. The burden for regular citizens is actually this high. What's the difference? The difference is misdemeanor domestic violence. It's not a problem for the police, but it is a problem for the private citizen. So we just established that the police are certified good guys, for sure. So what does that make a private citizen who has a CCW license? I would argue it makes them a extra certified good guy. So I think nobody here has a problem with police carrying guns on school property or in and around school property. So they're certified good guys. If our concealed carry holders are extra certified good guys, should we fear them? It's a question for the board. So I have a few, so the board can really do three things with this. The board can say, well, we're not going to take a stand. The board could also say, well, we're going to come out, against the legislation with a resolution. Or you could choose to say, well, you know what? I don't think we have anything to fear from the CCW holders because they have been background checked, they've been trained. It's not a big deal. So I just urge the board to consider that as well. Thank you.
There was another lady that would like to present? And Sue, you have their names and addresses? Okay.
Hi, I'm Mandy Porter Dosti, and my children also attend the school district. Thank you for letting me talk. And I also wanted to talk about the concealed weapon law that's being introduced possibly to the Wisconsin legislature. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of data on concealed weapons because, as you guys know, in the 1990s, research on the effects guns have in our personal and private lives and around violence has been curtailed. But we do know from studies, for example, in 2012, where there was 8,342 criminal gun homicides, there were only 259 of those homicides that were justified with someone using a concealed weapon gun. We know that a lot of times concealed weapons are often used in suicide and as well as mass murders. And while we all have good intentions, that's not always what happens when we have guns that we're carrying with us. Mass shootings are often planned from 6 months to a year, as well as most suicides. People are given warning signs. And those are really the opportunities where we need to be intervening. It's not carrying guns, but it's by recognizing warning signs of people who are intending or potentially going to be causing harm and violence, either in suicide or homicide. And without us looking for those opportunities, we're really missing the boat. And concealed weapons is not an answer, but it's actually it's a falsehood that leads to more violence without recognizing that we have an opportunity to prevent violence, recognizing signs. And the Sandy Hook Promise is an example of a group that's trying to do that and educate all of us, communities, to learn those signs, warning signs. And I think we should be looking that avenue. Thank you. Sorry, I don't like talking in front of people.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to address us? And if there are others, please, why don't you come up to Sue and sign your name and address, and we'll just kind of keep going.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Ross. I have 2 students in the Waukesha School District at the STEM schools. And I feel compelled to just say we put so many good things into our schools, music and art, and watching the 2 kids from West High School up here and listening to all of that, I feel that all the effort and time spent on making citizens that bringing something like guns into our schools is not the right thing to do. I feel like regardless of all the issues with that, guns in our schools tell our kids that their schools aren't safe. And I know principals, teachers, everyone there is constantly telling them that their schools are safe and a place where they can be whatever they want to be and grow up to be what they want to be. And I feel that allowing something like that in our schools is telling them that it's not a safe place. And I think we should really think hard about that before we would allow that. That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else, Sue, that signed up? Or anybody else that would like to come forward? Okay, thank you for your comments. We always take time to listen to our community members towards the beginning of the meeting, and we appreciate it very much. Moving on to our minutes approval, we do have several minutes to approve tonight. Regular Board of Education meeting held on February 8th, 2017. Also an executive session on February 8th, 2017. There was an executive session for expulsion panel on February 9th, 2017. Also February 13th, there was an expulsion panel, and February 28th, there was an expulsion panel. So there's those 5 sets of minutes that I'm looking on a motion to approve.
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. Bumgard. Is there a second? Second by Amanda. Any discussion? All right, Sue, will you please take the roll call vote?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
And Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, Sue. Moving on to our communications portion of the meeting. Todd, do you?
This evening?
No,
No,
none to report on?
Nope.
Okay. Typically, Mrs. Brezink will talk on the Waukesha Education Foundation update, but Mr. McCaffrey, you're going to be doing that tonight, right?
Yes, Mr. President, I will be giving the report in lieu of Mrs. Brezink. The Waukesha Education Foundation is pleased by the success of their celebration of excellence that was held on February 26th. The event was well attended and showcased the innovation, technology, and musical talents of the Waukesha School District. The event raised approximately $14,000 from sponsors, raffle, and silent auction items and concessions. The Waukesha Education Foundation would like to thank the school district for their support and assistance with the event. They would also like to thank the school board members who attended. The Waukesha Education Foundation online grant application went live on February 17th and runs through April 17th. During the 2016-17 school year, 25 Waukesha Education Foundation grants were awarded, totaling $27,855. We are planning on awarding up to $30,000 in grants for the 2017-18 school year. Our next event is the Waukesha Education Foundation Family Fun Walk or Run on Saturday, May 13th at Waukesha North High School. Information regarding the walk and run will be online soon. The Waukesha Education Foundation is excited to see the involvement of the School District of Waukesha wellness reps in our planning of this event. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. McCaffrey. And I know you, and I know Bill and myself, Amanda. I think, Pat, you were able to make it to the Celebration of Excellence. What a fantastic, and
Karen was there.
Karen, sorry. I don't know if I ran into you. Maybe we just came at different times.
I saw you talking. I didn't interrupt though.
Well, that's probably a pretty accurate statement. I do a lot of that. But what a great event. It was excellent. Always look forward to it. And it was really, the presentations that the students gave were fantastic. So I'm glad a number of us could make it and witness some of those grants, how those grant monies are being used. So thank you, Mr. McCaffrey.
Thank you very much.
Now moving on to our Safety Committee report given by Ms. Roddy.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Safety Committee, once again, this month will postpone their meeting to next week, Wednesday, March 15th at 9 a.m. at the Service Building. last month's meeting minutes should have been received in your Friday packets.
Thank you. Moving on to our charter, our school and program report given by Mr. Baumgart.
Yes, I have several things to report on, and there'll be additional stuff in your packet. First, from the Flight Academy and enrollment figures, we're adding one additional teacher to the program in the 2017-18 school year. The enrollment in the program will grow to about 171 students, and due to space limitations, we've already had to cut it off, and that's all we could accommodate. So it's very popular. Summit View, Jeff has a number of things to share with you. Again, there'll be a little more details in the packet on this. Jeff attended the Magnet School of America Policy Training Conference, which he found quite interesting. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos spoke at that, and there'll be some information about her speech in their packet. Also getting to, Joe mentioned earlier about visibility of our district along with other districts, and there's several of those in here, right here. Two of our Summit View staff members made a presentation at the ISN, that's the Innovative Schools Network, got that right, conference in March, and shared some of the things we're doing with the Summit View Middle School, Magnet School, excuse me. Carroll University instructor brought 23 pre-service teachers to class at Summit View so they could see how the innovative classroom design and arts integrated approach is working at Summit View. And, excuse me, 6 leaders from the Green Bay School District, also an arts integrated school, visited Summit View for a day in February to learn from the successful implementation of the design and creativity at our school. Green Bay is hoping that they can implement some of this and grow their program. From the eAchieve program, a couple things will be in there in addition to what I'm going to speak on, but both of the other two are, or one of the other two is about visibility. This past week, Rick reports that eAchieve was pleased to host its first ever site visit. Pennsylvania's leading virtual school, the 21st Century Cyber, this is the name of the school, 21st Century Cyber Charter School, virtually, there's a play on words, isn't it? Sorry about that. Virtually met with the eAchieve teachers and staff to learn about various aspects of eAchieve, including grading, school counseling, special education, and so on. And as Rick reports, we were very honored to have been recognized on a national level by a premier school from another state. So, good case in point. Also, Rick reports on the open enrollment. The increased investment in our online presence appears to be paying off. We are nearly halfway through the open enrollment application window and are 38% ahead of the number of applications compared to last year, so it's booming. We're hoping that lead holds through the rest of the open enrollment window. And again, I'll put a few things additional in the packet for Friday, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgart.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did have another page.
Yes.
How about that? Back
Go
on?
ahead.
All right.
Back on.
If you haven't seen
Round 2. This is 2.0.
Again, being noticed, if you haven't seen it yet, Jim Murray, Tina Sprader, and Jim Rickabaugh have published an article on personalized learning in the nationwide magazine ASCD:"Education Leadership." This March, these three, I love this, I didn't write this, somebody wrote this for me. This March, these three educational pioneers were officially published in one of the most prominent and widely read magazines in the educational field. Written as a day in the life of a STEM student, the story of the Waukesha STEM Academy, middle school particularly, is told from the student's perspective. Huge movement and recognition for both Waukesha State STEM Academy and the School District of Waukesha across the nation. The link will be in your packet if you haven't seen it yet. Wonderful article.
Excellent. Thank you,
And
Bill.
that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda. Darren, did we have any public gifts to report on?
Yeah, there's 3 gifts tonight. Metal Era Inc. donated $3,500 to the Waukesha Made program for the purchase of equipment, supplies, and resources, and other resources. The Carroll University girls softball team donated 95 hardcover books with an estimated value of $500 to Whittier Elementary School. These books will be given to students in K4, 5, and in first grade. Southminster Presbyterian Church donated $1,300 to Whittier Elementary School to be used for needy students and families.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for those generous gifts. We appreciate that. Your agenda includes various items, categories of items for your approval. There will be a time to set aside any item for separate consideration. I will ask that in a little bit here. We do have some expulsions over this past month, included our expulsions from February 9th, February 13th, and February 28th. A confidential communication regarding the details of these expulsions were in our Friday packet, along with the minutes included under item number 1G. If any board member wishes to discuss this item, we do have scheduled an executive session at the close of our regular meeting. Does anybody want to set aside any item at this time? Okay, Ms. Pat Madden, would you please present the consent agenda?
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this evening, the Human Resources Committee approved of 11 retirements, 11 resignations, 4 leaves of absence, and 4 new or modified teacher contracts. The information was provided in your packet, and an addendum was placed on your desks. Mr. President, I move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Ms. Roddy. Any discussion? Okay, please take the roll call vote, Sue.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, Sue. Thank you, Ms. Madden. We'll move on to our superintendent's report given by Dr. Gray.
Thank you. I heard from another superintendent in another state the comment that our students are more than a test score number. And if you've been to any of the recent plays at the high school, you know that is absolutely true. Very talented group of kids. A couple weeks ago, I saw the North play. Excellent. It's probably one of the best I've seen in the district. The West play, which was going on last weekend, and I think it is going on this week, Peter Pan. Again, fantastic, and if you want to see kids flying around, they are flying around.
Did they run that through the safety committee?
I don't know.
That's why I didn't skip it.
I hope I'm sure the wires are very strong, but they did it. It's a really impressive to see these kids flying in the air and singing at the same time. And then the South play, I believe, is this weekend as well. So a great opportunity to see a lot of talent in action. So, and talking about talent, I'm sure everyone knows that South High School was the state swim champ, which is fantastic. This is a big swimming state, and so to win the D1 championship is a huge accomplishment. So congratulations to South High swim team. Summit View, and I don't know that, Bill spoke about Summit View. We just found out yesterday that Summit View has been named a National Magnet School of Distinction. So we're not going to do a lot of media stuff right now. We're going to wait till Jeff and others go to the national conference, Magnet School Conference, and then they will bring back banners and plaques and stuff, and then we will invite our news media out and make, and as well as the board, and make it a much bigger media event. So Jeff and the staff there have just done a absolutely wonderful job.
You just broke it to the media, though.
Well, I know. I think we can probably convince Lauren that we'll make a bigger, when the plaques and the banners are up on the school, it's much more newsworthy. So hopefully she'll agree with that. At your desk, you have an article on the seal of biliteracy. We are the first in the state to have kids achieve that honor, and that was in the now section. So that's an excellent honor. Later tonight, Mr. O'Brien will be giving the the financial audit report, and obviously it's very, very good. But I just wanted to point out that our recent bond rating, after some years of not so good bond ratings, is up to a AA, Standard & Poor's AA. That's the third highest you can get, and there's only 33 districts in the state that have achieved that high of a bond rating. So we're in pretty good shape to go forward with some maybe potential projects in the future. Also at your desk, you have the latest MAID, that's the updated MAID brochure, and I just wanted to add to that, on your HR report, you see that Amy Lang is retiring, despite many, many hours of trying to convince her otherwise. I've offered her money, a new title, was gonna give her my office, whatever. That old adage that says everyone's replaceable, that's wrong. She is absolutely not replaceable. So we will do our best, but she has just been a wonderful advocate and a wonderful manager of this particular program, as well as the entire.
She's done a lot of heavy
career
lifting
tech.
over the
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
yes.
So she will be missed, although I don't think she'll just retire. I think we can get her to help out over the next semester or so on some things to make sure that her replacement is up to speed on all the many things she did. So it certainly will be a challenge trying to replace her, but hopefully we can get there. And a number of other people that I've worked very closely with in the district also on that retirement list, and it's sad to see them go. They're certainly well-deserved, but they've been really solid people in our district. So final thing, again, another thanks to the Waukesha Ed Foundation for their work on the celebration of excellence. It was a very nice event. The only glitch was the superintendent got the agenda wrong as to when he was supposed to speak. But other than that, we did get through it. So they changed the agenda at the last minute and neglected to tell me. So a lot of good news in the district this last month.
Excellent. Yeah. Quick question. The Wisconsin Seal of Biliteracy,
Yes.
doesn't that, we're going to be recognizing that during graduation, aren't we?
Correct. But we have, as the notes here, we have as many as 50 students that could qualify for that. So, and we are the first.
Fantastic. And I think they're going through, isn't there like I don't know if it's a project, but they have to submit evidence of it? And that process is going on right now?
Yeah. And we can have, in my update, I'm sure I can have Dee Garcia update on all the things they have to do, just so you have a good idea.
Yeah, that would be
I know
great.
it was presented at some
TNL.
TNL.
T&L.
I'm not going to get in trouble for that one.
That's 22 years was talking about CNL.
But it was she can provide some more information, just so people understand what exactly that is, so.
Fantastic. It's good news. That concludes your report?
That's it.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Thank you, Deputy. I'm sorry. Karen.
Thank you. I just wanted to give you a correction, Todd.
Good.
It's the South Swim and Dive team.
Oh,
There's
I'm sorry.
diving now.
Okay, you're right, yeah.
Diving
yeah.
is
This
come
one-
back.
Yeah.
And we need more divers,
Yeah.
and so
Okay.
even just a little plug like this helps people know that there's divers and
Okay.
they need more.
Correct.
And since it's a championship team, right? You want to join the championship team.
That's right.
So, excellent. Mr. O'Brien.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know, offer a suggestion. It seems like we have a lot of good things happening in the district right now, and getting a lot of state and national recognition. Our finances are good too, which is always a good thing on top
Right,
of that.
right.
And my understanding is at the federal level, they're looking at kind of restructuring how they handle education at the federal level. And it seems to me like it'd be considering that we have two congressmen that are fairly senior and fairly influential in Washington, it'd be a good idea to invite the Secretary of Education to come visit the Waukesha School District and see what we do for special needs kids, see what we do for achievement kids in our STEM schools, our charter schools, how we partner with like Montessori, and just all the different things that we do as a public school district, that with our unique challenges that we have here as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, actually, we partner with a lot of private schools in terms of the 4K. Catholic Memorial was part of the South Swim and Dive team. I don't know that they had, I think they more had JV swimmers, but I mean, we do connect very well with our local private schools.
And then, of course, there's the Richardson School that's
Right,
using our
right.
facility,
Yep,
you know, at Pleasant Hill. So
yeah.
I just think that we have such a unique story to tell, and, you know, certainly the Secretary of Education should always be welcome in our school
Right,
district,
right, yeah.
no matter what party they're in or no
Right.
matter. Yeah, so I think it'd be a nice thing to invite.
Definitely, I will definitely do that.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Dr. Gray. Moving on to our committee reports, we'll start with Compensation Committee, given by Ms. Madden.
I have no report tonight. I think that we are trying to arrange a meeting.
Yeah, later this month, March. It is soon.
Sounds good to me.
All right, thank you. Moving on to our Policy Committee, given by Mr. Baumgart.
Okay, we have no action items this month. Information item to share with you. Several times per year, we receive a policy updates from Neola, things that they have identified. Maybe there are compliance issues and things that are going on nationally and so on. We recently received, a couple dozen recommendations that I guess I'd call them. So what happens next is that First Administration is going to be meeting with the fellow from Neola to help him understand what they're recommending. Then they'll go through the Policy Committee, and any policy revisions that come up through the committee will then be brought to the full board for our normal method of approval. There's nothing different there. It's just that we will get these roughly twice a year, unless something urgent comes up. The Policy Committee will be reviewing these in our April and May meetings, and as it falls in time-wise, we'll be bringing them to the full board. As such, we are not going to be having a Policy Committee meeting in March because we have nothing new and we're burned out. Oh, I didn't say that. But we will be passing on the March meeting, and our next scheduled meeting is for April 18th. That concludes my report.
I concur. It's good to be done with having
project.
our new set of policies online and much improved, so,
And by the way, the online thing is working slick.
yeah, excellent. Thank you, Mr.
I wonder if we should announce online, on camera, that policies are now available online to anybody in the community by going to our website. It's there.
I think you just did.
Okay, then I did that. Okay. That's done.
You have that announcer-like voice,
Yeah, right
so.
there.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgart. Appreciate it. Moving on to our next committee, which is a Technology Committee, given by Mr. McCaffrey.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you. On to Finance and Facilities, given by Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I have a large audit to read tonight. It might take more than 25 minutes, but maybe I'll go to the short version. That'd be appreciated. Yeah. We did have 3 action items. The first action item is the approval of the Prescription Benefit Management Service. As a follow-up to last month's discussion, Jeff Schultz from Beneco and Melissa Beck, District Benefits Coordinator, presented administration's recommendation to move the district's Prescription Benefit Management Service to Navitas. This transition is projected to save over $600,000 annually in prescription costs. The committee approved the administration's recommendation to move the district's Prescription Benefit Management Service to Navitas as presented, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just briefly, we're moving from United Healthcare in terms of prescription management services. There's not enough transparency in that transaction. We actually had them come back after a couple iterations, and they offered us a much more attractive deal than even what we're approving tonight. However, you still can't really audit where the money's coming from at the end of the day. We made the decision that this was much more transparent, and we also are looking and advised that we may consider a different provider for managing our health care going forward, or at least bidding it out. So.
Yeah, the transparency is much welcomed. You don't see transparency in the healthcare industry very often. And so I really do think that that's important if you're going to be trying to manage things, whether it's as an individual employee or as a district, to have the transparency there. So there's an important aspect. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, Sue, will you take the roll call vote to approve the change in our prescription benefit management service?
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. Kurt?
Okay, the second action item of the evening is the approval of the planetarium equipment requests. As a follow-up to the December meeting, Mr. David DeReamer, our planetarium director, presented a proposal for the Digistar 6 system to replace the current equipment at the district planetarium. The revised cost would be $323,000, which includes pledged donations of roughly $30,000. And the remaining $295,000 is to be funded through the district's technology and teaching and learning budgets. The committee approved the funding of the planetarium equipment request in an amount not to exceed $295,000 and directed the CFO to identify the best approach to minimize the term but not to exceed 3 years that funds will come out of the technology, teaching, and learning budgets, and I so move.
Is there a second to that? Second by Mr. Baumgart. Discussion? Just, Mr. O'Brien?
Yeah, I might add, we're spreading it out over 3 years. It does, it doesn't mean that we're gonna crunch technology and teaching and learning. In fact, we ran a budget surplus this last year of about $1.5 million, so I'm assuming that this directive to the CFO allows him some flexibility for adjusting the budgets of T&L and technology within our overall revenue streams, so.
I just want, Mr. McCaffrey.
Just a quick comment. The new system will be more in-depth than the current system. We will be able to do other things with the new system, show different types of programs, educational programs as well. It just will not be related to astronomy.
Yeah, the flexibility of the new equipment is fantastic.
Well, I wouldn't call it restricted.
Yeah, the flexibility of the new equipment is fantastic. The old equipment we actually bought used 10 years ago, so it's, 15 or 20 years old. And so that's fantastic. And I also really wanted to tip my hat to Mr. DeReamer. When he first started out, the system was $490,000. And negotiating with various vendors and working with people in our district, working with Darren, it was a good collaborative effort to get that price down quite a bit, and we're receiving support from community members, and I know Mr. DeReamer is going to continue to reach out to see if there's any more support that we can attain from community members. So, thanks for all your hard work. Appreciate it. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, Sue, will you please take the roll call vote on approving the planetarium equipment upgrade?
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, Sue. Kurt?
The third action item, and it was a long committee meeting, we kept it under 3 hours on Monday, but the third action item is the approval of the South High School cafeteria project. The administration provided a final projected budget for this project. The proposed budget for this project is $1,119,300 and will be funded via the Fund 50 food service fund balance. The committee approved the South High School cafeteria renovation project as presented with a budget not to exceed $1,120,000, and I so move.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Ms. Madden. Discussion? Mr. O'Brien?
Not only do we have the money in our Fund 50 food service to cover this, we actually added quite a bit of money because of the improvement of the food service. I believe, Mr. Clark, didn't they say the other day it was like $400,000 or something like that?
Yeah, they're projecting nearly a $500,000 surplus this year.
So we're not just draining the fund, we're actually adding to it and taking a little more out. That's the process. So we're having a good year in the food service. We'll be talking about that a little bit later, but certainly this is a lot of money and it's a big project, but it fits within our overall funds and the way cash is flowing in right now.
And just to point out, I know there've been some constituents who've said we could, why can't we just take this money and move it over to other needs? We can't willy-nilly move funds all the time. We have to follow state and federal statutes, and this is one of those cases where these funds in this particular fund, is it Fund 50 or 53? 50 need to be spent specifically on certain types of projects, and this qualifies for that. Mr. Clark, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, and we actually took a look at seeing if we could qualify or use Fund 50 monies to expand the cafeteria area, and we can't. We can't actually use these funds to build on new space. So there's very tight rules and regulations for Fund 50, and just wanted to point that out as this has come up a number of times from some constituents. So any other questions or discussion? Okay, Sue, will you please take the roll call vote on approving Waukesha South cafeteria improvement project?
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. Kurt?
Now we're off to our information items. We had 4 items. We did have the presentation of the 2015-16 financial statements by Schenck SE. It was delayed a little bit this year because of some problems at the state. Each year, school districts are required to have a financial audit conducted upon the completion of their fiscal year ending June 30th. That was last June 30th. Ms. Amber Jawiski, senior accountant with the government and not-for-profit team of Schenck SE, presented the 2015-16 financial statements. There were no compliance items reported, and I asked her to give us the traditional grade, and she gave us a B+ for her progress and a B+ for her status, current status. I guess the grade that really counts is the one that Mr. Gray gave us earlier, which is the improvement in our credit rating. So that's probably the one.
Yep.
That's probably the one that Mr. Gray is more excited about than the arbitrary grade we get from the auditor. On the management response to the 2015-16 audit, Mr. Amandrzejewski reviewed the management communications. There were no internal deficiencies to report to the board, nor were there any compliance issues to report. Third item was the food service program update. Ms. Mary Jo McLaughlin, regional manager, Ms. Valerie Frigge, resident dietitian, food service manager, and dietitian, and Brian Mand, general manager, Aramark, shared a PowerPoint presentation, which is included in your packet. And if you see it, it's a very nice presentation. It highlights the food service program's performance during the 2016-17 school year. You understand that this is our first year with Aramark. We made tremendous progress in just the first year in terms of student participation, the number of children that are participating in our lunch and breakfast programs, and the way it's being delivered to children, and the quality of the food service has been really well recognized. And I would like to congratulate the administration for being proactive in bringing this change in our food service program forward. And the fourth is the monthly budget update. The committee was presented the budget report for the month of February. $15,982,431 was reported in the general fund revenue, and $8,597,236 was expended during the month. $1,862,590 was reported in the special education fund revenue, and $2,209,153 was expended. The district is operating in accordance with our budget projection in other areas. There are no discussion items on the agenda tonight. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. And I think you're about 2 minutes under the 3-hour mark. No, maybe 10 for your meeting. So this was much quicker. So good report.
Because I didn't let you talk.
There you go. Well, I get to say a few things now and then, such as we're moving on to our Teaching and Learning Committee, a report given by Mr. McCaffrey.
Thank you, Mr. President. The last Teaching and Learning Committee meeting was held last night, March 7, 2017 at 6 p.m. There is one action item, one information item, and one discussion item that appear on the agenda for the Teaching and Learning Committee this evening. Our action items were the approval of new eAchieve middle school courses, acting and performance, and theater and design. Dan Kaiser, Rick Nettesheim, and Missy Candle presented to the Teaching and Learning Committee a request to add 2 new courses for middle school students at eAchieve. eAchieve's middle school students frequently exhaust the current list of available elective offerings. Historically, one of the niche markets for eAchieve has been students involved in theater. These 2 courses would be for eAchieve students only, as there is no comparable elective courses in the traditional middle schools. On a vote of 5-0, the Teaching and Learning Committee approved the addition of the new eAchieve middle school courses, Acting and Performance, and Theater and Design. We request board approval, and I so move.
Is there a second to that? Second by Mrs. Reinacek. Discussion? Mr. Baumgart.
Yeah, you may have some of the same concerns I had. At first, I was reluctant on this, almost to the point where I would say it would be a trial. But as Rick and the rest of the people discussed last night, my concern was to think about acting and performance being a face-to-face kind of a thing, not a camera kind of a thing. But as they described it at the level that they're talking about, it made some sense, particularly after you realize that some of these, and a good number of these kids are involved in eAchieve because of their involvement in some kind of performance stuff that's going on in their lives. So that made, I think, as Patrick mentioned, as part of the niche that you're after here. The other thing that I brought to mind is when you looked at the curriculum as it's described, it's not really so much the performance, though they will do some performance stuff and be expected to do some performance stuff. It's at a level that they can easily handle in this online environment as opposed to face-to-face or stage type thing. So, and in all honesty, he knows he's going to have to bring it back and tell us whether it's working or not. So that was discussed last night as well. So all in all, I changed my mind.
I'm glad you brought that up. I, too, was a little unsure if this is really the right way to go. But one of the things that helped me in the packet was looking at the lesson plans and seeing what the formative and the summative reviews were. That really helped to kind of get a sense of how that would work and how the whole lesson was really put together and how they would be going through that and learning.
And if you're looking in there too, you'll find reference to the communication skills we just have to have in life. You know, the body language and delivery and voice and some of those things, which will be helpful to the middle school. Now, we had a group of middle school kids last night that they didn't need much help with it, but that was, part of our youth activity council. Really interesting, but you're going to get to that, I suppose.
No, that's not on my report.
Oh, well, it should be. But the fact that we are talking, or we're leading these kids on and how to be better communicators, that's a life skill. And
Absolutely.
I believe it's in that program.
Other discussion, questions? Mr. O'Brien?
During committee, was there discussion on how this came into being? I mean, how did this arise?
It was brought up by an instructor at eAchieve. She thought it'd be a good idea to offer it as an elective because we do have a lot of students that are involved in the theater, and this is one of the reasons why they are actually at eAchieve, because their schedules do not really allow for traditional brick and mortar schools.
So can I add to that too?
Yeah, you can. I'm sorry.
The drama director at South was involved in it as well. I think he was from South, wasn't he? Yeah. So it came up internally.
Because for eAchieve, we develop our own curriculum now. We don't farm any of it out. Right. And so we're kind of stepping into a brave new world, I guess, with this project. Okay.
Do that a lot, Kurt.
Everything is a brave new world.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? Okay, Sue, why don't you take the roll call vote on approving 2 new middle school courses for eAchieve Academy in theater?
Tricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. Pat?
We had one information item as well. It was related to the AVMR and math recovery. At our meeting last night, Rose Palmer, along with district teachers Debbie Berg, Katie Kara, and Rachel Bergen, presented information on the training being provided to math teachers using the Advantage, MR, and math recovery programs. This training focuses on understanding students' current knowledge and strategies and then providing a detailed instructional system to increase student performance in basic skills through intensive, individualized instruction. Moving on, we had one discussion item last night as well, related to student achievement update at Butler Middle School. Last night, Principal Jason Sadowski and Butler teachers Tracy Dominic and Michelle Malonen were present to share the progress that Butler students are making both culturally and academically. Butler's theory of action was presented along with specific examples of student growth in behavior and learning. And that concludes my report, Mr. President, barring any discussion.
Yeah, this is a discussion item. I did, at the Celebration of Excellence, Butler was represented quite well
Very
by
well.
3 students, talking about some of the cultural changes that are going on there and some of the events that they hold and how they are learning how to really work with one another, to be tolerant of one another, to listen to one another, and just, it was fantastic listening to these students at that young age really having a good grasp of how important it is to work together and to listen to people with differing opinions. That's not being done so well these days. So to hear these kids on top of it, we should be learning from them, is the way I was looking at it. So fantastic. Anything else on that item? Okay, Mr. McCaffrey?
Our next meeting will be held on Tuesday, April 4th, 2017, in this room at 6 p.m.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to human resources given by Ms. Madden.
Thank you, Mr. President. The administration is recommending Luke Pinion for the position of Director of Student Services. Mr. Pinion is a highly regarded professional who is genuine in his care for students and the teams that he works with. Luke possesses a strong background in school psychology, social work, and special education. He has been described by his colleagues and supervisors as a relational administrator who understands student service processes, including student discipline, multi-tiered systems of support, and has done an excellent job at intervening in challenging situations where stakeholders are not in agreement. Luke received his Director of Pupil Services and Special Education certification from UW-Eau Claire, his Educational Specialist in School Psychology, Master of Science in Education, and Bachelor of Arts degree from UW-Whitewater. A confidential recommendation and resume was placed at your desk. Salary and benefits will be according to middle management policies. I move to approve the appointment of Luke Pinion for the position of Director of Student Services.
Is there a second to that? Second by Ms. Reincheck. Discussion? Mr. Baumgart?
Just comment, I received this earlier, I think we all did, and this guy's got a really loaded resume. I mean, he has extensive experiences that I think will be very useful in our district, so I appreciated it.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yeah, his resume was pretty impressive. It has a strong community service proponent to it as well, and certainly we need a blend of people in our district, and I think he'll add to that blend and add value significantly. So I look forward to his approval tonight.
His organizational skills certainly came through in his resume. It was just, it flowed so well. I felt like I was in an interview with the guy, actually, and I wasn't. All right, anyone else? Okay, so will you please take the roll call vote on approving this new potential employee?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye, passes 8-0, Sue. Pat?
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you kindly. We do have some other business tonight. Two components, A and C. So let's take up A at this time. Are there any recommendations for future agendized items?
Yes, I'd like to make one, and that is that we look into the resolution on the concealed carry, as was requested tonight. It doesn't have to be done now, but whenever we want to get into that resolution, I think it's something we probably should discuss.
Okay. Any other suggestions? Mrs. Reincheck?
Could we add to that what the financial impact would be if we actually put a police officer at every single school?
So expanding, right now we have SROs at high schools. We just expanded to one to float around middle school. So you're saying each middle school and elementary school. Okay. All right. Any other suggestions?
1,000, wasn't it, for additional? That'd be very expensive. We don't have problems at all of our schools.
Okay. Any other suggestions for agendized items? Okay, we do not have a need for executive session for B, but we do have a need for executive session C. Would anybody be willing to make that motion, Mr. Bumgart?
I'll make the motion. I move that we adjourn to executive session for Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parentheses 1 parentheses C to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility to discuss preliminary notices of non-renewal. And
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Mr. McCaffrey. Sue, will you take a roll call vote on that?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. We will go into closed session. So there is a chance that we may reconvene into open session after closed session to consider approval of preliminary notices of non-renewal. We may need 20 or 30 minutes. Is that roughly 5 minutes? Okay, so it'll be pretty quick. So thank you for coming to the meeting this evening.